I mean, it's really phenomenal to just look at what's going on with me right now. And I mean, I guess like over the course of the last, I guess 6.5 years since I first got sober, I mean, if you told me like 7 years ago that I would have like moved out to LA, to ultimately stop doing drugs, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, like hooking up, with chicks, oh my God, there's no way. I would have freaked out. And then if you said, oh yeah, and you're going to become a successful stand-up comedian, headlining the world, like all around everywhere, and like really doing well with it, you're gonna get into acting, all this stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable what I'm beside myself. I can't believe what I'm doing, and now, like I said, I've got all these great projects, and I'm just super psyched, man. And
I think you deserve it, man. It's just because you truly are transparent. You're really authentic. You know what I mean?
well, thank
And
you, man.
people throw that word around all the time, but
Hey, I
for me,
appreciate it, man.
and that's why.
I work really hard at what I do, man, and that's a lot of things today, and they're all things I'm really glad to be working on. And the stand up is really a big deal too, man. I mean, shoot, like I've been this is, I think, my fifth time. I think I was at stand up live in Phoenix 3 times.
Yeah, you're right.
Now this is my second time at the Tempe Improv.
Right. I actually wanted to talk to you about that actually real quick.
Well, yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think what you were saying. I graciously accept the compliment. I'm really thankful for it. And at the risk of sounding douchey, I would have to concur that I think I am about as candid and even shamelessly honest as they come. I really, there's not a whole lot that's off limits with me, man. And it's really I bring that to my comedy. So when you come to see my show, if I say something happened, if I tell a story, base a joke on a life event, you better believe that happened,
Right.
because I don't come out to waste anybody's time with any BS.
So for anyone that, because I'm gonna bring like a bunch of people to Sunday show.
Oh man, that's excellent. Sunday shows, I love it.
But they never seen you before, and I think like this, like people in their head thinking comedian, they think, oh, joke, punchline, right?
Sure.
But you're not. You're kind of like, I mean, you tell me, but to me, you're like a storyteller, right? It's all the experiences that happen in your life.
It's about. I focus on telling stories, but the whole idea is to get laughs.
Right.
I'm not Henry Rollins doing spoken word.
Yeah, no, he's a little serious.
I'm not, the whole thing, like, is about telling jokes. And I mean, I'm not super into like being like really sticky on the radio and doing material. But I'll give you an example of something that's true. I think it's a good example of what my comedy's like these days. Because when I started with the sexual sobriety thing, and I promised myself over and over, okay, I'm gonna change my ways on this trip. I'm not gonna fool around with anybody.
Right.
Then I go to Toronto, and I'm on a mission to really not act out sexually, and it's going great. I mean, there I am in Toronto. I'm just minding my own business in the titty bar.
Okay. Well, you put yourself in that situation. You should have. I mean, to be honest, you should have known that, though, right?
Right.
You kind of set yourself up.
Right. I mean, that's the comedy of it, is that I had this firm resolve, yet I'm in a titty bar, right? And now this little 19-year-old dancer with humongous real boobs. I mean, gorgeous, perfect little body, the finest little tush in a thong. She comes running over. She's so excited to see me. She bounces right on over. She swings around and sticks her tush in my face, right? I'm sitting there in the chair thinking, I'm not going to have anything to do with this. I'm minding my own business. I look at her butt, and the girl has my autograph tattooed on her butt cheek. Now, let me ask you, how are you going to go and turn down a piece of ass with your name on it?
No, you're right.
So I guess, like, and again, I mean, I feel like a douche, like, to go and get all sticky and do material on the radio, because I kind of that's not really my style for interviews. But I think that it's pertinent. It's a good example of where, like, I really had this experience. I mean, 100%. And I remember calling up somebody, I don't want to get into it, but somebody who's this support system in my recovery for drugs and alcohol, you know. And this is somebody who I'd come home from trips and be like, man, like I promised myself I wasn't going to do this, and I did it, man, again. Like, oh, I wasn't going to do that, I did it again. And this guy who sounded like seriously like lending support to me, he was the one who said that. He's like, wow, you know, how are you going to turn down a piece?
Do you almost feel like you like subconsciously get yourself involved in, I don't want to use the word trouble, but you get yourself involved in situations so you have material to talk about? You get what I'm saying? Like,
what a
otherwise
great
you're not
question,
stories.
man. What a great question. And
because you said yourself just a couple seconds ago, you're at the titty bar, right?
Right.
But if you had gone to the hotel and went to bed, you'd have nothing to talk about. You wouldn't have that story to share with me.
You're absolutely right. And it wasn't consciously to try to generate material for stand-up. Remember that. I know that.
Right.
But it happens. And I think that in other areas, in general, I have lived my life very much that way. I mean, I wrote a book, with a guy, and God, I mean, what an incredible book we made. And again, I mean, I don't know, it's douchey to say that, but on Amazon,
it's okay to be proud of your stuff.
On Amazon, the aggregate average of all of the reviews for my book, all put together, comes to a full 5 out of 5 stars. It's got a 5-star rating.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a New York Times bestseller, and it's got over 100 of these people who took the time to read it and write reviews. I'm so proud of that. And when people ask me, like, well, you know, when did you come up with the idea to write a book, or did you always want to write a book? And it was like, my God, you know, like always. And kind of to what you were saying, I lived my life from almost the beginning, like just outrageously, just so that, you know, I always just wanted to be an artist.
I just think you like conflict.
I mean,
situations.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's
think
really
so
what.
Too, man.
Yeah.
And I dig that, man. You know, I've largely lived my life for it to be a rad story to tell.